Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Ricky, aka the War Champion, back here with another one. Today we're going to discuss who I felt, in my opinion, was the hardest boss in Kingdom Rush to deal with. You may have your opinions as to who you think was the hardest boss, and I'd love to see you guys' comments in the comment section. This is just giving you this opinion after many years of me playing Kingdom Rush, and what I think about each one of them, and from starting from easiest all the way to hardest. Before I continue, please like and subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be bringing a lot more content, Kingdom Rush wise, as well as other videos too. So feel free to subscribe to my channel. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to a few other YouTubers that kind of inspired me to do what I've been doing thus far, and thus to Shy Guy Mask, capital SHYGUYMASK. The other one is Kai Genix, capital KAI space capital GENIX, and The Real Morgan, capital THE space capital REAL space capital MORGAN. These are three YouTubers that have come up with Kingdom Rush challenges, for example, and I've played some of those challenges and I've improved on some of my skills. So I just really appreciate the support that they give, and the challenge that they come up with that inspired me to even come up with variations of my own on certain kind of challenges. And another shout out to another subscriber. He has good content as well in his videos. His name is the Dubsty Pigeon, capital THE, capital DUBSTE, capital PIGEON. Another YouTuber out there. You can check out their channels and see what kind of content they have and subscribe to them as well. All right, but enough with all that. Let's get started for this video. Let's begin. Okay. So first boss that I felt was the easiest is the Juggernaut. So let's start off with his stats. He's got 12,000. This is all, first of all, this is all with respect to playing on veteran difficulty, and this is the difficulty as far as how I perceive each boss. That I perceived each boss is with respect to not playing without a hero. So this is with all of this is gauged and based on if you weren't to play this game without a hero, or if the hero wasn't intervened in battle. And this is with respect to playing on veteran difficulty. So on veteran difficulty, Juggernaut has 12,000 hit points. Physical damage 150 to 250, range damage 150 to 250, physical attack rate, he hits every 2.5 seconds. His ranged attack is launched every 14 seconds, where he launches a rocket at your own allies. Surprisingly, he looks like a giant Dark Slayer. And for all of you, I'm sure have played, the Dark Slayer has great armor, but this Juggernaut boss has no armor. He doesn't have any magic resistance. He's slow moving in speed, and his special ability summons minions to the playing field, basically to add some type of trouble for you. But they're relatively easy to defeat, as they only have 150 hit points, 10 to 20 damage, no armor, and no magic. So let's see him in combat. Yeah, so he comes at the bottom, right over here. And I'm sure most of you, he's a well-remembered boss because he's the very first boss that you play in Kingdom Rush. Nothing overly spectacular about him. He summons probably a maximum of up to 7 minions in the battle, but those minions are easy to defeat. I mean, at this point, this is the 17th wave, so your tower should be well upgraded. So, also another thing is, if you upgraded the archers to level 4 and you tried to use poison against him, he's unaffected by any poison. That's another ability that I didn't factor in. Like other bosses, they might be affected by poison. He's not affected by it whatsoever. But I think another reason why it may have seemed like it taken a while to attack is because you see what's going on. Watch this. The towers if there's other minions within close vicinity of him, the towers change their aim and attack elsewhere. So you'll see this soon enough, right? Like, watch this. You see how he, like that middle arcane wizard, see how they changed his aim? They're not hitting the boss anymore, even though he was further ahead on the path towards the exit path. They just attacked other minions, but that's probably why it might have seemed like it taken a while to kill him. But he's really not hard at all. I don't see anything, extraordinary about him. Of course, that's considering being the first boss. Getting ready to wrap this up here. He's getting ready to die, but this is the guy that I felt was the easiest, and I'm sure most will probably agree. Maybe other people may have seen it differently, but that's the one I felt was the easiest boss. All right. Next, Malak. So let's talk about him. He's the one boss for the Pandemonium level, which, by the way, most people I'm sure would agree is one of the hardest campaign levels in the entire Kingdom Rush game. Let's start off with his stats. Sits on his throne. He has 13,333 hit points on veteran. Physical damage 80 to 120. Basically stomps on his opponent. He just stomps down on his opponents. His attack rate is 1 hit every 2.3 seconds. No armor, no magic. He had magic resistance. He has medium speed, however, and his special ability is an area insta-kill, and you either have to, now this insta-kill has a drawback. You'd have to be unaware of or unwise enough to force him to use it in battle, and that's if you try to use 2 or more combatants in a engagement battle with him. That's when eventually he'll use that area insta-kill. So he likes one-on-one. He doesn't like it when you try to double up on him or try to triple up on him and have multiple people trying to fight him all at once. He likes it one-on-one. And he's very, very, I felt he was very easy, and you're going to see why. Let's see him in battle. So this one can overwhelm you with the Demon Legions, but they don't come till like much later, considerably a much later time. This level you get so much bounty on. I mean, you'd have all kind of good towers set up by now. I mean, you get a lot of bounty on this level, but he's so easy to defeat because look at this. I mean, you get plenty of time where it's just a one-on-one with you and all you got to do is just tank them with somebody tough, like a unit, like a earth elemental. But the only thing is to be careful of are these Flareons. Down the pathway that he walks, 10 Flareons and 15 Demon Legions come down here. Of course, the Demon Legions don't come till much later, but the Flareons can, producers made a smart choice of having Flareons come as their ranged attack can do some significant damage, and it also, the effects set whatever unit on fire that's trying to stop him. So that's the only thing, but that's really not a big deal. Look how much health he's already lost. He's very, very easy to beat. You'd have to mess this up in order for him to escape. But another thing, I don't know if Steam, that's another thing. On Steam, it used to be, I played this on Steam, but it used to be where the Demon Legions, even if you beat Malak, the Demon Legions would still be, they would still come and you'd have to defeat all of them. But I guess Steam must have been upgraded. So once you defeat Malak, now the Demon Legions, they don't appear. They all disappear. So that's something I guess when you beat them, the level ends as soon as you defeat Malak. It's not like it used to be where you had to deal with all those Demon Legions. But he was the next boss that I felt was the easiest, and let us move forward to the next one. All right, next boss that I felt was next in line is Ulga Kai, the troll boss. Let's start with his stats: 12,000 hit points, physical damage 150 to 350, attack rate 1 hit every 2.5 seconds. He wears no armor, no magic resistance, slow speed. Special ability: he's able to perform an area attack damage per hit, so it hits multiple units. He has high health regeneration, so he's regenerating 30 hit points every single second. And another thing I left out is that you cannot attack him. As you see in the picture, when he holds up that shield and nobody's engaged in battle with him, no damage can be done to him whatsoever. But now let's see him in battle. Let's explain why I felt he was the next easiest boss in line, or shall I say the next hardest boss. So he comes from the top part of the top part of the entrance, as you see here. But he's not hard, and the reason why is because there's no horde of enemies that come and get in the way of combat as he's coming. So other than the only way he would to me be a problem is if he came and you mess things up where you got him mixed in together with those Pathfinders. You see where those Pathfinders from? A total of 60 Pathfinders come. So the only way this would be hard is if you allow for him to actually get in the midst of those Pathfinders. That's what I think will make this very difficult, but that should not happen as you just use the Paladins and Earth Elemental to tank him. I don't see that being possible, which is why I don't feel he's that difficult. I mean, he's within the right radius of the other towers to do damage to him, and you got the right enemies tanking him. It's just a piece of cake to just stall him and keep attacking him from there. And then the bottom part, I think it's a total of 24 trolls, 8 troll chieftains, 2 troll breakers, and 1 troll chieftain that come. But they're just there just for the I don't really know. They're just the producers just decide to bring them. They're of no real threat anyway. It's just this guy, but very easy to kill. Yep, and pretty much get the point. You know what's going to happen. We're going to win the wave, but let's move on to the next one. Okay, oops. Let's talk about this one. This is the boss that I felt was the next hardest boss to defeat, and that is Goldbach. So let's start off. He's the goblin boss, so let's start off with his stats. He has a total of, on veteran, 14,400 hit points. Physical damage 200 to 600. Attack rate, though they do say on the website he hits every 2.5 seconds. I don't agree with that because it appears as I've been seeing when he's in battle, he attacks every single second. He's got a blistering fast attack and he does massive damage, an average of 400. No armor, however, no magic resistance. He moves slowly and he restores his allies' hit points. Not forget how much that he restores them, but he's able to restore his allies' hit points, and that's definitely not a good thing to deal with, especially if you're going up against a lot of armored enemies, and even one of the other enemies, such as the Forest Troll, which already has fast hit point health regeneration. So let's see him in battle. Oh yes, and disregard this. This, by the way, this is not going to be, disregard what you're already seeing here, as there's a bunch of forest trolls all over the place. I was playing a challenge. This was my own challenge I came up with that I already have posted on my channel. I was basically playing to start every single wave as early as possible and see if I can beat the game without, just see if I can beat the game and beat this level by just clicking on those early wave icons and starting the waves as fast as I can. So all these forest trolls, this wouldn't be happening had I not done that. So take this with a grain of salt. This just would not be the case if I were to play this without doing that. But yeah, you see what he's doing. That's his main special ability. He just restores the hit points of his allies, but there's nothing. It's nothing great too spectacular. And the reason why I feel that he was not as difficult to deal with, because this level, you have a way to set up a lot of very good towers. And the reason for that is because of the amount of bounty you get. I mean, the enemies that you deal with on this one that give you a significant amount of bounty, I mean, they appear quite often. And that's I mean, you got the Orc Champion that gives you 30 bounty. You've got the Ogre that gives you, I think, 60 bounty. You have, of course, the Forest Troll that gives you a maximum of 200 bounty. And on the 19th wave, the one right prior to this one, there were a total of 16 Forest Trolls that appeared. So that you should have gotten a maximum of 3,200 should you have killed one, or if perhaps one of them happened to leak. You still get bounty if they leak the battlefield. And then you got these Wolf Riders, or Warg Riders, shall I call them. They give a lot of bounty. So this level gives a lot of bounty to where you can set up a lot of good towers, and that's what makes this very easy when it comes to defeating this boss, in my opinion. And yeah, again, like I said, he has no business getting down this far. I was just playing this, starting every single wave as fast as I could, so that's why he's all the way down here. So disregard all that. But we're going to be wrapping things up, see if he makes sure he doesn't escape the battlefield. Just wrapping things up here. He's getting ready to die after all that. Yeah. Next one. This may come as a surprise to some of you, or many of you, but I felt JT was the next hardest boss. I'll explain why. Let me start off with his stats. He has a total of 13,200 hit points, physical damage 150 to 200. He doesn't have any armor, magic resistance. He doesn't have any slow speed. His special ability, he insta-kills all enemies in engagement. So if you have a bunch of barracks that come up to fight him, he just picks them up and eats them up like dinner, you know. He just eats them. So he insta-kills them. And then he also disables the towers, kind of similar to how the earth elemental attacks. He'll slam the ground, and as a result, it'll send icicles around the towers, and then you have to click off of them in order to bring them back into play. So let's get started. Why, and I'll explain why I felt that he was a next harder boss, and the reason for that is because this level, I kind of underestimated this level a little bit. You don't start off with much bounty, but surprisingly, you don't get a lot of bounty on this level. And again, disregard this one again because I was playing another. This was a challenge that I was playing. This was from Shy Guy Mask. I'm sure most of you probably have heard of him, but as I mentioned I mentioned him in the beginning of the video. This was a challenge I did where I was playing without any reinforcements, barracks, or any heroes, and seeing if I can beat the level without using any of them. But I underestimated this level because of the fact that this boss, you don't have a lot of bounty, and not only that, you know where he came from, just where he's walking from, the entrance that he came from. This level separates the brethren that come from each direction at the entrances. So from where he came from, the trolls come from his direction. Out of that mine or cold mine, the wolves come, and then at the bottom part specifically, the armored enemies such as the Dark Slayer, Dark Knights, and the plunderers like the brigands and bandits, they come from that section. So you'd have to evenly space out your towers to set up. Like you'd have to specifically set up like mage towers to deal with those armored enemies, and then try and be wise in your setup of the towers elsewhere. But it doesn't really matter that I didn't use barracks. I feel like this could have been beaten a lot sooner. I feel like he could have been beaten a lot sooner, but because of the fact that you don't get a lot of bounty, you don't accumulate a lot of bounty throughout the entire level, that's what kind of made this one a little difficult in my opinion. However, I will say that the other thing that this level on this last wave is that when this boss comes, there's an infinite wave of Winter Wolf and Yeti that appears. So you can easily rack up a lot of bounty as you kill them, and then you can start upgrading your towers and trying to do more damage to him to get rid of him as fast as you can. So that's the other good positive note, and but that's who I felt was a little bit harder. All right, it's moving right along. Next one, Myconid. So the boss for the fungal forest, Myconid. Let's start off with his stats. He's got 5,400, which is the least amount of all. He has the least amount of hit points of all bosses. He does have a physical damage of 150 to 350. Does not possess any armor, any magic resistance. His speed is medium. Special ability, he passively spawns rot shroom, I think at a rate of every 6 seconds. And upon doing so, he also spreads poisonous spores that do 300 damage to anyone within radius. And he also, upon his death, he spawns 10 rot shrooms. And they can, if you are unprepared or you're not prepared defensively, they can easily overwhelm you. So that's one thing to be very, very cautious of. But he's not hard to kill, but it's because of these special abilities as well as the other, especially the main leads, the special abilities, and then the wave of rot shroom that come, the other enemies that come on this level, that can make this a little bit of a challenge when it comes to defeating him. So let's see him in battle. So this one level, oh yeah, this one was kind of generous. They gave us the L tower, so they do 25 to 50, and they have of course they have that ranged attack. But yeah, you see what he just did as he spawned those rot shroom, those poisonous spores did some damage to the reinforcements. Surprised it didn't kill him, but I guess they weren't in the correct radius or so, shall I say, in order to effectively wipe them out. But you see, yeah, he's very strong in battle, but he's very, very low in hit points. But this is the part where he can overwhelm you. Here is where he spawns all of these rot shrooms. So he's got 10 rot shrooms. Yeah, it's the rot shrooms that can really overwhelm you, and if you are unprepared. So yeah, you see how these hordes of rot shrooms are coming. You just have to be well prepared for that. But that's where I think he can get you at if you are not, if you're unaware defensively or you're not ready for it. So that's one thing to be very careful of. But he's really not that bad. He's not really hard to defeat in battle. And by the way, it used to be, I think in Steam, there used to be a bug where the rot shroom, when they exploded, they didn't do any damage. Their poisonous spores didn't do any damage, but I think Steam, I guess it's been upgraded, so now they have fixed that bug, and now the rot shrooms, they don't do any, their poisonous spores do damage to you now, to all the soldiers. So yeah. Next one is Vesnan. That is the next boss that I felt was a little bit more difficult to defeat. I'm sure most of you pretty much know all about Vesnan, as he's in the main. He's the last level in the main campaigns. He was for the Dark Tower. So let's start off with his hit points. He has a total of 7,999 in his wizard form. His dragon form is 6,666. Physical damage, 666 to 999. Doesn't have any armor, no magic resistance. His speed is slow. However, his special abilities, he's got quite a few of them. He disables your towers. And then increasingly, it starts from, I believe, wave 9, and then does it in increments by 1 every single level. That's every single wave that you defeat. The amount of towers that he'll disable will increase. He does it only in wizard form. Summons Demon Spawn and Demon Hound from circles, only in the wizard form. He can insta-kill units, basically as you see in the photo where he absorbs the soul of your units. He does that in the Flash version, however. I don't think he does it in the Steam version, as I read on their website. Upon his death in the wizard form, he can transform into the dragon. But however, he does lose his ability to disable and summon enemies from the circle. And last but not least, I had this for just laughs, but it's kind of true. He loves to make you mad. He likes to see you in you're not in your A. He wants to try and take you out of your A game, shall I say? Guess you play differently when I think that is a big deal, because I guess you play differently when you're not there mentally. You're mad or you get taken out of your game. It's easy for him to do that. It's easy for you to lose your touch when you're upset. So I guess that's some way to look at that as a special ability. But it's taunting. That's what he does. So let's see him in battle. Time for him to go postal. But another thing, this could be a lot easier, but again, disregard this. Again, I was playing the challenge, again, from Shy Guy Mask, where I was playing without any barracks, reinforcements, or heroes. So that's why this could be so much easier had those units have been used. So I know you're seeing that so far he's not really being perturbed, or shall I say, be engaged in battle. But so this would be I'm sure would be much easier to do had I had some melee units to engage and slow him down. But it's not like it really matters, because once you see how he was dealt with, you're not going to think much of it anyway, that he's really all that hard anyway. But he is a little bit of a problem, because the reason why it feels that way is because in his wizard form, should he get it to as far as where he's at right now, he can cause a little bit of a problem as far as being having your towers being able to focus on. You see how he's spawning all these demon spawn and demon hound. They just get in the way of everything, and then also just the disabling of your towers makes it hard for you to even. It just makes you have to be a little wise on what towers you choose to restore from possibly being disabled. So you really want to make sure that the towers that when you click on that are the ones within proximity of him, so he can still keep getting attacked as he's walking down the playing field. But yeah, that's the main thing. If he was still in his wizard form right here, you'd be in the world of trouble, because he'd be right in front of that graveyard with those skeletons and skeleton warriors. And then also you still be having those demon hound and demon spawn being spawned, so that could make it a problem. But again, he's not that hard to kill because of the fact that you can stall him fairly easily, and as long as he's not in this wizard form by all the way down here, he's no real threat. Next boss that I felt was the harder boss, the Kingpin. So he's the one that appears on the bandit's lair. So let's start off with his stats. Hit points 9,600, physical damage 100, armor, he doesn't have any magic resistance, he moves slowly, and his special ability, eats up a fat chicken. For health restoration, in this cart that he drives, those bladed wheels, he can crush melee warriors. So I guess you could possibly see that as an insta-kill, but technically it's not, because if you ever had any kind of warrior in front of them, they'll just lose 100 hit points. I'm not sure how fast, but they'll lose 100 hit points eventually till they die. But there were some special abilities I didn't know about. He reduces your bounty. That I didn't know. Apparently, when the money that you see in this chest that he's sitting in, he takes it and he throws it on the ground, and upon doing so, you lose like a maximum, I think, of 200 to 300 bounty, and I had no idea that happens. So that can affect how you might be able to stop him for sure. But I didn't even know that. So another thing that I also didn't know is that he restores the health of his allies. So only by 50 points, but that's not much. But still, it's still some special abilities I didn't really pay attention to or never caught as I was dealing with him, and that's because I was, it's just those main special abilities of eating the chicken and crushing the melee units is the ones that really catch your eye. You don't really see that other one where he throws the coins. You just see the coins being thrown, but you don't really think much of it until you really. I had to read on the website to find out about him reducing bounty and even restoring the health. Well, let's see him in battle. So again, disregard this. This was just me playing the wave, starting every single wave early, as fast as basically trying to beat the level as fast as possible. But this would not be the case had I had waited up until all enemies were defeated on the 14th wave. So where he's coming from. So the main reason why I felt he was hard is because of the fact that the horde of enemies that come serve as a huge distraction. You see how these raiders are coming? These raiders can act as like a distraction, and those spider matriarchs that are coming from the top, 34 of them will come. So that also diverts the tower's attentions from focusing in on him, which can make him a problem when it comes to stopping him. It's all these hordes. You see all these marauders and brigands. A bunch of them come from where he's at. So it makes it difficult for your towers to focus in on him. But you see that right there. He's going to eat the chicken again and restore his hit points. And then also, there he goes again. He threw the coins on the ground, and so you lost bounty as a result of that. But if you do things right, and you wipe out the hordes of enemies, he's not that difficult to defeat. But he can be if you take a long time to kill the hordes of enemies. He can just plow his way through and make this very hard. You see how he just it doesn't really insta kill, but he just runs over everybody, and all these marauders and these spiders, they just divert attention away from you focusing in on them. That's why I felt he was a little bit harder to deal with out of all the bosses, and that's why I have him as to where he's at on my list. All right, moving right along. Next boss. This may come as a surprise to many of you. I'm sure maybe some of you might not think she was all that hard, but I have her third on my list, Sarlgas. So let's start off with her stats. So obviously she's the one on Sarlgas Lair, rules the Northern Lands, but her hit points, she has 21,600. That's the most of all. She has the highest hit points of all bosses in Kingdom Rush. On Veteran, she has 21,600. Physical damage doesn't really matter because she insta-kills every unit when she engages. But anyhow, she has 300 to 500, as they say. She has no armor, no magic resistance, and she moves slowly. So, the main thing on this one, again, that I don't think she's all that, but the main thing on this one, in all directions, a total of 11 sons of Sarlgas and 22 matriarchs will be spawned for a total of 33 sons of Sarlgas and 66 spider matriarchs. But she's not that bad. She can be difficult. She's tanky, but you're going to see what I mean here. Disregard all this again. I was playing the waves, starting the waves early, starting in this fast, and just to beat the level as fast as I can. So this would not be happening as all these sons of Sarlgas from the previous wave are still in battle. But the main thing that can really mess up things as far as being able to defeat her easily is these. Not necessarily because of the towers that I have set up. You see I have this Tesla tower set up that can easily decimate the spider matriarchs, but it's these sons of Sarlgas that can be a problem, as they're in fact they're the only enemy that has high armor and high magic resistance. I think 70%. So and they also have 1,500 hit points as well as 50 to 100 damage. Spider matriarchs don't really pose much of a threat because of the fact that Tesla does massive damage to them. But that's really what can mess things up, is the hordes of enemies that get in within proximity of sorrow gas. But there's a huge way to stopping her. Basically, you see where she's at, that's considered a choke point to me, and that's a great way to use barracks to try and stall her. And then there's another choke point down here if she happens to get around this sorcerer tower on the end. Once she gets around that and comes down there, she's going to get another choke point. So there's 2 choke points to stop her at, which makes this very easy to whittle down her hit points, though she is very tanky. However, there's her special ability of insta-killing, however, can be seen as a drawback. And it can be perceived, as her greatest strength can be perceived as her greatest weakness, in the fact that she takes her time having to insta-kill one unit every single one that comes in the battle. Though she does it quickly, but you can use that against her by hoarding her with a bunch of barracks or a bunch of ranged units, with the barbarians, especially as they throw their axes at her, so you can whittle away at her hit points as she's trying to insta-kill every single enemy in front of her. So that strength can be perceived as a great weakness and be used against her. As you see right here, as I'm using barbarians. I don't want to use the paladins because the paladins have a longer respawn period. The barbarians only have an 8-second respawn period after death. But she's very tanky, but again, I didn't feel she was the hardest boss to deal with. And that is why I have her 3rd on my list. All right. Now, this one, I'm pretty sure a lot of you may have some disagreements about, and that's perfectly fine. That's why the comment section, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it. But this one was a very tough decision that I had to decide on why, if I felt why I have him as 2nd on my list. I did have mixed feelings about it, but I'm going to eventually explain to you why. So let's start off with Lord Blackburn's stats. He has 10,800 hit points. He does a physical damage of 100 to 200. His attack rate, he hits every 2 seconds. He's the only boss with armor, and he has high armor. I think 75%, if I'm not mistaken. Magic resistance, none. Slow speed. That though he does take the shortest path to exit the playing field. Special abilities. He does area attack with his dual axe. He's able to disable towers. If he gets in within the best radius, he can disable up to a maximum of 9 towers. That's how powerful his disable capability is. He's also able to spawn skeleton warriors upon the death of any soldier within close proximity of him, even earth elementals included. So I think this only happens on Steam, but that does happen. Should any soldiers die within close proximity of him. But again, let's see him in battle, and I will explain to you why I did not think he was the hardest, but it was very close, very, very close. And by the way, to explain what enemies are coming, so from this, you see where that swamp area is at, a total of 15 zombie, 1 abomination will come. From where he's coming from, 4 fallen knight, 4 lichen will come, and at the bottom, 8 fallen knight, 1 lichen will spawn, and then also the flying unit are the black hags, 6 of them will come. But those zombies in abomination are of least concern because they come like 2 minutes after this wave starts. But anyhow, I just thought I'd just give you that breakdown on who's going to show up on this level. Well, another thing I didn't notice, I guess Steam did some upgrading, might have been some upgrades there, but on this wave, but I don't remember him being able to disable towers from that far back. I don't remember him. I feel like he was further down the path as he did that, but he's able to disable towers, I guess, from that far, so I kind of underestimated that, but nonetheless, that special ability right there is why I can see what you guys would think of as far as why he was one of the hardest bosses, because of that armor and that ability to disable those towers. That is a nasty duo to deal with. Also, another thing to note, I played this without having any insta-kills from the towers, like the arcane wizards using the death ray. I played without it, so that's why the Lycan is still alive, and some of these enemies are going to survive for quite some time because I don't have any insta kills from these towers. But you see what he's doing. He disabled 9 towers right there. He's within the perfect radius. That's the perfect spot I was talking about. But the biggest, well, I'm going to let you see what happens here as the wave finishes up, but area damage he does, or he hits all soldiers with that dual axe. It always comes down to the wire when it comes to him. And then you see those skeleton warriors spawn. We're playing this on Steam, so that's what just happened there. So there, he's defeated. But, and again, I understand completely if you guys disagree with me as far as why he should be the hardest boss in the game, but there's a lot of ways that you can this can be taken, and in this case, let's say for instance, there's a lot of ways you could have played this level and played this wave. You could have had, you see where I have my Earth Elemental. You could have had the Earth Elemental at the same spot where that Arcane Wizard is at, the very first one that he disabled. You could have had that Earth Elemental there and try and tank him. But the problem with that would have been is that should that have happened, and you tanked him for a certain amount of time, the way this wave, the nature of this wave is that those Fallen Knight come at a time, a certain amount of time after when Lord Blackburn appears. So if you were still tanking him, you might find yourself in a little bit of a tough predicament, as you'd have to try and eliminate those Fallen Knight and eventually those Black Hags, and even Lycan, which are a nuisance and they're not fun to deal with. But if you did do that, you'd have a boss in the midst of all those Fallen Knight, which are all, by the way, are magic resistant. He's armored, and he'd be in the midst of all those magic resistant enemies should you have tanked him for quite some time. In that same, if you had that sorcerer spot, that sorcerer mage and the Earth Elemental in that same spot where I have the Arcane Wizard that was the first one disabled. But I chose to use a Arcane Wizard at the top because I wanted to whittle and wipe out his whittle down his hit points at the same time, also wipe out his armor early on, so it'd be easy for my towers to focus in on him and to kill him. But the main reason why that kind of I felt he wasn't the hardest is because of the fact that if you did it the way I had just did it, no enemies were within close proximity of him. It was just mainly him that all the towers were focusing on throughout the duration of this wave. So with that being said, and then I have the Earth, in this case, I have my Earth Elemental all the way down closest to the exit, so you can easily tank him as he gets towards the end. But by then, his armor is already depleted, and should be depleted, and all your towers can focus in on him. Are able to focus in on him and wipe him out as he's trying to escape the battlefield. And that's the biggest one. Not a lot of horde of enemies surrounding him. And that is why I felt that he kind of was not, he's definitely a very hard boss, but I didn't feel he was the hardest. And with that being said, that leaves us with our last one that I crowned. It's Greenmuck. This one kind of took it. It was kind of up, and I kind of at times felt Lord Blackburn was a little harder, but I felt Greenmuck kind of took the cake. Some of you might disagree, and I completely understand that again. But before I even talk about why I felt he was the hardest, let's talk about his stats. He's got 12,000 hit points on veteran difficulty. Physical damage 150 to 250, range damage 150 to 250, physical attack rate 1 hit every 2 seconds, ranged attack he does every 6 seconds, no armor, no magic resistance, slow speed, and the special ability that he has that is just annoying. It makes him so annoying, dude. I'm serious. Like, he has that range attack that hits all melee units on the field. So Greenmuck, he's the boss for the Rotten Forest. He reminds me, I'm going to make an analogy here. He reminds me of Reptile from Mortal Kombat 1, the arcade game. Reptile is the hybrid of Sub-Zero, and he can be seen as the hybrid of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, as he has the attacking capability similar to that of both of them, but he moves a lot faster. So he's overall just a lot better attribute-wise. This is what Greenmuck is to me. He's like Reptile from Mortal Kombat 1. He's like a giant tainted treant. You know, he's got more attack points, of course, no armor, but he's got higher attack points, and he's like got the power of the Swamp Thing. But the Swamp Thing's that attack where the Swamp Thing throws the slime balls, his slime balls, the attacking capability is enhanced, where he's able to hit multiple units. In fact, all melee units on the field. So this level on the Rotten Forest, it's an unwise thing to use the Earth Elemental, obviously, because if it dies, you get a Swamp Thing, and then if you have barracks, which you already kind of should be a little hesitant on using anyway, because if they die, they'll spawn a husk in the acid pool. So with him shooting those slime balls from the top of his head, you can get overwhelmed with those medium armored husks, which are very annoying to deal with. So let's see him in battle and see where I'm coming from. And again, this one, disregard. I started, this should not be as hard as you're seeing it right now, because I'm starting the wave. I started the wave as early as I could, just for the fact I was playing a challenge of my own. But I don't have any barracks set up, as I felt you can easily beat him without barracks. But if you did use barracks, if you were engaged in battle with Greenmuck, with barracks, he's going to do his physical damage to him, but he'll also use his slime ball attack, which also just adds on it's basically another range damage. So he can be in battle and still use that range damage on you, which is not a good combo. But I think the reason that took the cake, you see that right there? You see where he's at? Those Tainted Treant are surrounding him. And when you got, in this level, this wave, compared to the previous waves, a maximum of 3 Tainted Treant will spawn on all waves before the 20th wave. On the final wave, this 20th wave, see, he used the slime ball. Now you got husk. On this wave, you got a maximum of 6 Tainted Treant that will spawn from the ground, making this even more cumbersome to deal with him. But it's the real reason is that it's hard to slow him down with reinforcements if you wanted to tank him. Of course, playing without a hero, you can't. It's very difficult to tank him now that you don't have the hero. You could use paladins, but the tough part about that is, should the paladins engage, depending on where the Tainted Treant will spawn. If the paladins were in battle with one of those Tainted Treants, his slime ball attack, they're going to already receive damage from those Tainted Treants, but the slime ball attack makes it even worse, as the Tainted Treant can wipe him out with his ranged attack. And that's what makes him, you get husk spawning as a result of that. That's what makes him difficult. But he's very, I think most people would agree that he is difficult, but there, of course, there's going to be some disagreement, but he's definitely challenging. And the main word that comes to mind is probability when it comes to defeating him. It's probability, because probability is because you don't know where the Tainted Treant are going to spawn. The bounty-less Tainted Treant are going to spawn from. Those 6 bounty-less Tainted Treant, you don't know where they're going to spawn from. So you could get lucky, and they may not spawn within close proximity of them. But if they do, you're going to be in a tough predicament there, because your towers could be focused now. If they're now within the same radius of him, but in the same radius of your towers, your towers, and they're ahead of him, your towers could end up focusing on killing the Tainted Treant instead of attacking Greenmuck, which makes him, in my opinion, very, very difficult to deal with. So with that being said, that is why I kind of edged it to Greenmuck, because of that special ability of using the ranged attack of attacking all melee units on the field, but also because of the high probability of there being a bunch of Tainted Treant spawning around him as well. Not only that, he already brings 20 Tainted Treant come down the same path that he comes down. And then also there were, not only that, to add to, there were 46 demon spawn, 3 demon lord that came from that demon entrance. And then over here at the bottom right is 20 Tainted Treant came from that direction. But he can overwhelm you. You can easily be overwhelmed because of the fact that it's difficult to stop him as he does that ranged attack, and then hordes of Tainted Treant can get in the way and make it difficult for the towers to kill him. So that is why, again, I'd said that I have him as number 1. All right. And just gonna finish this up here, let you see the victory. Woot, woot, woot. And that wraps it up, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Again, subscribe. Again, I cannot wait. Why don't you guys get on down there and get some comments in, man? I want to see what you guys have to say about this. I know there's going to be some mixed thoughts and mixed opinions as to how you feel, but I'm definitely open and respectable to all of those opinions, and you know, because I know you guys are gonna have different thoughts as to who you feel is the hardest boss. But I'm open to hear what you have to say. So get on down there in those comment section, man, and you know, let's have a little chit chat. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, and also, you know, hit that subscribe button. And as I plan to bring more content, and then also just as a reminder, feel free to tune in and, you know, check out those YouTubers that I mentioned. I'll mention them one more time: Shy Guy Mask, Kai Genix, The Real Morgan, and the Dubsty Pigeon. Check out their channels, see what they have. I'm subscribed to all of them already, so have a look at their channel, guys. And I appreciate you guys watching this video. And till next time, all right, take care and farewell.